Beneath the marble splendor of St. Peter's Basilica, I tread softly through a realm of shadows. Far below the golden domes and jubilant crowds above lies a hidden city of the dead. My footsteps echo on an ancient stone path as I descend into the Vatican Necropolis, a forbidden underground graveyard entombed for centuries. The air is damp and cool, it smells of earth, dust, and history. In the beam of my flashlight, faded frescoes and Latin epitaphs flicker in and out of view on the walls, brief ghosts of a long-ago Rome. In this twilight underworld, pagan mausoleums stand shoulder to shoulder with humble Christian tombs. Here, a marble altar to a forgotten god. There, a scratched Chi-Rho symbol of Christ on a brick wall. As I move carefully through the narrow lanes of the necropolis, I can almost hear echoes of prayers for the dead from nearly 2,000 years ago. It was only in the 1940s, during World War II, that this silent city re-emerged. Secretly, Vatican archaeologists excavated by lantern light, revealing this labyrinth of tombs untouched since the days of the Caesars. Their hearts were set on a singular prize, the resting place of St. Peter. According to tradition, Peter, the apostle chosen by Christ as the foundation of his church, was buried in this hill after his martyrdom in Nero's circus nearby. Emperor Constantine later built the first basilica atop this spot, like a great beacon above Peter's grave. But the exact tomb was forgotten, lost under centuries of soil and construction. That is, until those wartime excavations uncovered a modest burial alcove marked by a rough, red plaster wall. On that wall, archaeologists discovered a fragment of graffiti, Peter vis, E&I. Peter is here. Within a hidden niche, they found human bones. I stand now before that simple grave, and a chill runs through me. Above my head, the great basilica soars into the heavens. Here, beneath my feet, lies the literal foundation of it all. "You are Peter," Jesus said in the Gospel, "and on this rock I will build my church." How extraordinary that those words echo both spiritually and physically in this place. The rock of Peter's faith, and Peter's actual bones, embedded in rock, became the bedrock upon which the church was raised. In the dim light, I can make out the clear reliquary box now holding those bone fragments, tucked back into their ancient crevice. I feel as if I am standing at the axis of history, the living church above and its silent roots below. Reluctantly, I move on through the necropolis. Flickering electric lamps guide me past tombs of early Christians who sought to be buried near their martyred leader. I ascend a few steps and emerge into a broader, vaulted corridor. These are the Vatican Grottoes, a crypt just beneath the basilica's main floor. Here lie the tombs of scores of popes, saints, and even monarchs who wished to rest close to St. Peter. In the soft glow of lanterns, I see marble sarcophagi and altars marking each resting place. Latin epitaphs of dozens of popes surround me, each a successor of Peter, now returned to dust. Pilgrims above kneel and pray without knowing how many layers of history lie underfoot. I walk among these tombs with a hushed heart. The frescoed ceiling is low. I almost feel I must bow, as if in the presence of so many illustrious dead. Here too lie kings and queens who sacrificed everything to be buried near the fisherman's tomb. Time loses meaning here. The only sounds are my careful footsteps and the distant drip of water seeping through ancient mortar. At last I come to the central point directly beneath the high altar of the basilica. Above me, sunlight and worship. Below me, darkness and bones. I place my hand on a cold pillar of foundation stone that roots the basilica to this underworld. It's humbling to realize that every grand mass in St. Peter's, every papal coronation, every Easter prayer has taken place literally atop the grave of a humble Galilean fisherman. The church triumphant is built upon the church persecuted and buried. My guide, a solemn Swiss guard, gestures that it is time to leave this sacred undercroft. I take one last look at Peter's hidden tomb, then at the surrounding crypts of those who followed him. A line from Jewish scripture comes to mind. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and our children forever. For centuries, Peter's resting place was one of those secret things, known to God alone, sealed beneath marble and earth, until it was revealed again in our era, renewing the faith of many. What other secrets might lie hidden in these stones, awaiting their moment to be brought to light? But our journey into mystery has only begun. If bones and tombs can lie concealed for ages beneath a church, what other marvels might lurk in the vaults and chambers of the Vatican? We are about to venture from the realm of the dead into the realm of hidden knowledge, into the secret archives where the living history of the church is guarded from prying eyes. A short walk through a side passage takes us from the crypts into a sealed suite of rooms. I now stand before a heavy oak door deep inside the Vatican. My guide produces an old iron key and turns the lock. With a low groan, the door opens and I step into darkness once again. This time, the darkness of countless forgotten pages. I have entered the Vatican's secret archives, a place spoken of in hushed tones, shrouded in myth. A single lamp flames to life, casting a golden glow on row upon row of shelved documents. The air is dry and tinged with the scent of old paper and leather bindings. Unlike the damp tombs we left behind, this chamber feels brittle, silent, as if even sound is classified and filed away. I take in the sight, endless cabinets and stacks stretching into shadow, each labelled in elegant Latin script. Here are letters of medieval popes and emperors, records of inquisitions and heresy trials, maps from missionary explorers charting new continents. For centuries, these archives, known officially as the Archivum Secretum, were the private domain of the pontiffs. Even today, only a handful of vetted scholars may enter, and only to view carefully selected material. It is a sanctuary of memory, where history's turning points and deepest controversies lie sealed in manila folders and leather tomes. As I venture deeper, guided by my escort's lantern, I catch glimpses of astonishing artifacts filed away in these shelves. Here a parchment signed by Michelangelo, there an inquisitor's transcript from Galileo's trial. Candid pieces of history that lie quietly in the dark, far from public view. Each document seems to hum with untold stories. It strikes me that here lies the raw truth behind many official narratives. Letters and confessions never meant for the masses. Evidence that could alter reputations or doctrine, all preserved in silence. We wind through a maze of shelves until my guide unlocks yet another iron grate, leading us into the most restricted vaults. I feel a thrill of nerves. Few outsiders have walked these aisles. Behind one heavy wooden door, I imagine the files of the medieval Knights Templar, whose abrupt suppression in 3007 still spawns legends. Perhaps here the Vatican keeps transcripts of Templar Grand Masters' secret confessions, or evidence that the order was innocent of the heresies for which they died. Behind another marked Index Librorum might lie volumes from the Index of Forbidden Books, copies of heretical works. The Church confiscated rather than destroyed, from Gnostic Gospels to scientific treatises once deemed dangerously radical. This archive is not only a treasury of the sacred, but also a vault for the profane and the suppressed. A prison for ideas that the Church over the centuries found too hazardous for open circulation. My mind races with the conspiracies I've heard about what lies hidden here. The wildest theories surface in my imagination. Some speculate the Vatican hides scrolls that tell a very different story of Jesus. Perhaps evidence that he married and had a child, a secret holy bloodline carried through the ages. There are tales that the Holy See hides proof of extraterrestrial life. Perhaps a medieval report of a strange craft or an otherworldly skull locked away to avoid upending theology. Surrounded by these locked cabinets, even the outrageous starts to feel possible. In a place so full of guarded knowledge, who can say what marvels or horrors might be preserved? My guide's lantern throws dancing shadows as we navigate a narrow corridor lined with vault doors. He pauses at one thick door and lifts a small hatch, revealing a climate-controlled chamber beyond. Inside, on a satin pillow, rests a single sealed envelope. I have a strong suspicion of what it is, the elusive third secret of Fátima. In 1917, 3 shepherd children in Fátima, Portugal received apocalyptic visions. 2 were written down and revealed, but the third was sent to the Vatican in strict secrecy. For decades it remained unread here, fueling endless speculation. When the Vatican finally revealed what it claimed was the third secret in 2000, it spoke of a bishop in white struck down, widely interpreted as a vision of the 1981 assassination attempt on John Paul II. Some were satisfied, but others believed that the real secret, perhaps foretelling a larger apocalypse or a great apostasy in the Church, was kept hidden even then. Staring at that lone envelope through the glass, I feel a prickling on my skin. If some harrowing prophecy is truly inscribed on that paper, the Church has judged that the world is not yet prepared to face it. We move on, and I notice an antique key displayed on a wall under a faded coat of arms. The key of St. Saint Peter, my guide notes softly, likely a ceremonial relic, or perhaps an actual key to some long-sealed chamber. It reminds me that the Vatican holds the keys of heaven figuratively, and very literal keys to its earthly secrets. In the Quran it is written, With him are the keys of the unseen. None knows them except him. Here on earth, this archive guards some of those unseen things, revealing them only to the rare soul with permission, or perhaps only to God in the end. Finally, we reach an imposing metal gate at the end of the hall. Beyond it, a spiral stair leads further down into darkness. My guide stopped here. Beyond this gate, only the archivist and the Holy Father may go, he whispers. I peer through the bars, my eyes straining to see anything in the void below. I imagine what might lie in that ultimate sanctum, perhaps the fabled Chronicle of the Popes, where each pope leaves a secret letter to his successor, passing down knowledge too sensitive for any document, or shelves holding the lost books of the Bible, texts that the early church fathers decided to omit from scripture, possibly even remnants of the Library of Alexandria, rescued from antiquity and spirited to Rome for safekeeping. Only the highest clerics would know the truth, and they, bound by oath, do not speak of it. For a long moment I stand silently at that gate, fingers curled around the cold iron bars. I feel the weight of all that is unseen and unknown pressing in from the darkness beyond. A verse from the Gospels echoes in my mind. For nothing is secret that will not be revealed, nor anything hidden that will not be made known. One day, I think, perhaps in the far future or at the end of days, these archives may be thrown open and their contents shouted from the rooftops. What a reckoning that would be. Perhaps the Church believes humanity is not ready for certain truths. Perhaps the timing of revelation must be left in God's hands. My guide gently lays a hand on my shoulder, pulling me back to the present. It is time for us to depart this hall of shadows. We retrace our steps through the labyrinth of memory, past shelves that quietly guard scandals and miracles alike. With a heavy click, he locks the grand archive door behind us. I inhale deeply as we emerge into a corridor lit by a pale beam of daylight from a high window. I feel as though I've surfaced from deep underwater, lungs grateful for fresh air free of dust. Yet our exploration is not over. Knowledge recorded on parchment is one thing, but there are older, more tangible enigmas hidden in these grounds. My guide gives me a knowing glance. Now he will lead me to a place seldom seen by any outsider, a secret vault of relics and artifacts concealed in the bowels of the Holy See. If the archives held the Church's mind, this vault holds its heart, and perhaps its nightmares. My pulse quickens as I follow him down yet another ancient stair, the air growing colder with each step, into the unknown once more. Deeper we go, beneath even the archives. My guide leads me down a winding stone stair lit only by a guttering torch. Far below the busy museums and chapels above, we reach a massive door banded in iron. 2 Swiss guards stand watch. They step aside at a nod from my escort. A key turns in the lock, and the door swings open. I am met with a breath of cool air carrying the scent of metal and old incense. We step into a clandestine chamber known only to a sacred few, the Vatican's secret treasury of relics. Inside, warm lamplight dances across the stone vault. I see rows of gilded cabinets, altars laden with reliquaries, and chests secured with chains. The atmosphere is thick with an almost mystical hush. It is as if I've entered the inner sanctum of a pharaoh's tomb, except the treasures here are of the spirit. A frail Monsignor in a white cassock approaches as our custodian. With silent, reverent gestures, he beckons me to follow him through this sacred vault of wonders. He leads me to a long marble table draped in silk, upon which lie 2 of Christendom's holiest relics. One is an iron spearhead, dulled by time. The Holy Lance, legend says it pierced the side of Jesus on the cross. Beside it, encased in crystal, are 2 wooden fragments forming a cross, shards of the true cross discovered in Jerusalem long ago. I feel a tremor in my chest at the sight. Emperors, knights, and conquerors have sought these objects, believing they held divine power. Now they rest here in silence, hidden away to prevent them from inflaming the world. The Monsignor murmurs a prayer as he covers the lance and cross again, his hands reverent and careful. The Monsignor next opens a tall wooden cabinet. Inside are shelves lined with ancient scrolls and books, some sealed with wax. These are scriptures that never made the official Bible, the apocrypha and forbidden gospels the Church collected and hid. My eyes fall on one manuscript titled Evangelium Barnabae, the Gospel of Barnabas. This apocryphal gospel, if authentic, shockingly depicts Jesus as a prophet who foretells the coming of Muhammad. Such a text would upend established doctrine and even bridge to Islamic law, so the Vatican keeps it out of sight. There are others here too, gospels attributed to long-lost apostles, prophecies never revealed, words perhaps too challenging for the flock. Gently the priest locks the cabinet once more, its contentious contents to remain in darkness. In one corner stands a small iron door wrapped in chains. The Monsignor unlocks it gingerly, revealing a pedestal on which sits a book bound in black leather, also fettered with chains. Its title, etched in Latin, reads Grand Grimoire. My blood runs cold. This is the legendary spellbook said to give its wielder command over demons, the so-called Gospel of Satan. The Church, unwilling to let such blasphemy loose in the world yet fearful of destroying it, has kept it imprisoned here where no curious soul can tamper with it. It has not been opened in centuries, the old priest whispers, voice trembling. I nod as he closes the vault and refastens the chains. Even locked away, the grimoire's presence feels like a coiled serpent sleeping in this house of God. On a final pedestal, I see a parchment scroll with a list of Latin names. Many of them I recognize as past popes. It is the prophecy of St. Saint Malachy, my guide explains, a medieval list predicting each pope from centuries ago until the end of time. The last entry on the list speaks of a Peter the Roman, under whom Rome will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will come to judge the world. The Vatican has never officially endorsed this prophecy, yet here it lies, safeguarded as if even the chance of its truth demands it be hidden. A chill ripples through me as I consider that even the Church's own end may be scripted on a scroll it keeps in secret. My journey beneath the Vatican now draws to a close. The Monsignor and my guide escort me back to the stairway. At the foot of the steps I turn for one last look at the vault door as it thuds shut. I am reminded of the ancient temple in Jerusalem, where only the high priest could enter the Holy of Holies. I feel that I have been allowed briefly into Christianity's own holy vault, peeking behind the veil that normally separates the faithful from mysteries reserved for heaven. Then I follow my guides upward, ascending out of the hush and into the living world above. Stepping into the morning light of St. Peter's Square, I blink as the sun bathes the marble colonnades. Tourists and pilgrims wander the plaza, oblivious to the labyrinth of secrets slumbering beneath their feet. I carry those secrets in my heart now. Bones of saints and pages of forbidden wisdom, relics that could inspire faith or spark chaos, prophecies of doom and perhaps of salvation. It is overwhelming, yet strangely uplifting. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the glory of kings to search it out, says the proverb. By descending into the Vatican's depths, I have searched out what was concealed. And yet I know that in the end, as the scriptures promise, nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest. One day, whether by divine revelation or the march of time, all that is hidden beneath the Vatican may be revealed to the world. For now, the Church guards these secrets, perhaps believing that humanity is not ready to face them. What is hidden beneath the Vatican? It is not one thing, but many, the memory of ages, the keys to mysteries divine and arcane, treasures of faith, and the Pandora's box of human curiosity. It is the raw truth and the guarded lie, the sacred and the forbidden. In a sense, it is the very soul of our civilization, preserved in a crypt. Yet through it all, I take comfort that above these vaults stands the Basilica, solid as the rock of Peter. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it, Christ promised. In that assurance, I hear another promise, that whatever lies hidden in darkness, the light of God endures. And when the appointed hour arrives, that light will illuminate even the deepest corners beneath the Vatican, and all secrets shall finally speak.